My beloved child, there are days when you walk in silence, sowing what is right without a single eye taking notice, keeping your heart upright without any voice of praise being heard. And deep within you begin to wonder whether all of it is fading away without meaning. But I tell you the truth, not one act of goodness done in truth is ever forgotten. What you do in secret is not lost, it is preserved in eternity, where the light never fades. As it is written, your Father, who sees in secret, will reward you. Matthew 6:4. So every time you choose righteousness when no one is watching, you are touching something that human eyes cannot measure. Your life is not a sequence of unnoticed days. It is a living record before me, written through the faithfulness you have chosen in each small moment. And when you begin to realize that there is a gaze always upon you, your heart may grow uneasy. You remember the times you were misunderstood, the times you were weighed against others, the times you were judged without anyone truly knowing your story. From there, you learn to close yourself off, like one who builds walls to guard the deepest parts of the soul. Being seen no longer feels safe, but becomes a pressure to prove yourself. Yet, my child, I am not the voice that makes you feel lacking. I do not stand waiting for you to stumble so that I may conclude something about you. For it is written, the Lord does not see as man sees. Man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. 1 Samuel 16:7. And so my gaze does not rest on your faults, but goes straight to the place where life is being formed within you. Let me restore your understanding of what it means that I watch over you. I do not look at you with cold scrutiny, but with the heart of one who loves. I do not place you on a scale against others, nor do I measure you by the standards of this world. I see you as a gardener sees what he has planted, not merely noticing the branches that have yet to bloom, but perceiving the promise of the harvest to come. As it is written, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Jeremiah 1:5. And so my vision of you is not confined to the present, but encompasses the destiny I placed within you from the beginning. I see in you not only who you are today, but who you are, becoming a soul, being shaped, refined, and brought into light. Remember the story of the poor widow in the temple, when many who were wealthy gave out of their abundance. Yet she offered only 2 small coins, so easily overlooked. But I, the one who dwells on high, saw what no one else perceived. I declared that she had given more than all the others, for she had given her very livelihood. Mark 12:43-44. Do you see? What the world overlooks becomes precious in my sight. What seems small in the eyes of others carries eternal weight before me. In the same way, your quiet choices, each time you forgive without being known, each time you remain silent instead of reacting, each time you continue to love without receiving in return, hold a value that no earthly measure can fully assess. Therefore, do not let the fear of being seen cause you to withdraw. Do not allow old memories of judgment to distort your understanding of my gaze. I do not stand at a distance to judge you. I am near to sustain you. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted. Psalm 34:18. And so, my gaze does not cause you to shrink, but opens you in peace. When I look upon you, I see not only what must be refined, but also the beauty emerging within you, a beauty not born of perfection, but of transformation, unfolding day by day. Walk in this understanding, my beloved, when you live uprightly, even when no one acknowledges it. You are cooperating with what is eternal. When you keep your heart soft in a world that easily grows hard, you are reflecting my very nature. And when you feel small beneath the gaze of others, remember that there is another gaze, my gaze resting upon you with a value beyond measure. I have loved you with an everlasting love, therefore I have drawn you with loving kindness. Jeremiah 31:3. And it is this love that forms the foundation of all that you are becoming. Therefore, do not fear the light, and do not withdraw from my presence. Allow me to see you, not to expose you, but to complete you. Let my gaze become the place where you find safety, not pressure. And day by day, as you continue to walk in truth, you will realize that you no longer live to be seen by others, but to remain within my loving sight, a gaze that does not condemn, does not compare, but continually leads you into the abundant life I have prepared for you from the beginning. My beloved child, there are stretches of your journey that unfold in quietness, where no applause is heard, no eyes are watching, and you feel as though you are moving through an unseen space. Yet it is precisely in those hidden days that I see most clearly every choice you make, not with the cold gaze of lifeless record, but with the treasured attention of one who cherishes every step you take. Each time you choose to keep your heart soft instead of closing it. Each time you refuse to let bitterness take root, even when circumstances could justify it. Each time you continue to believe without visible confirmation, all of it is being inscribed, not with fading ink, but with eternal light. As it is written, "The Lord preserves all who love him," Psalm 145:20. And this preservation is not only protection, but also the keeping of every expression of your love for me as a precious treasure. Perhaps you have often wondered, if no one sees, if no one understands, do the things you are doing truly matter? But, my child, the value of what you live out is not determined by the number of witnesses, but by the one who is present with you. What is done in secret carries the deepest weight in the spiritual realm. For as it is written, "He sees in secret," Matthew 6:6. There is not a tear you have shed that I do not know, not a righteous decision you have made that I do not hold dear. What the world overlooks, I call precious. What you consider small, I call foundational. And understand this deeply, I do not hasten to bring you into the light before others, while what is within you is still being formed. For there are things that, if revealed too soon, would not stand, and hearts that, if lifted up before they are made steady, would lose what I am building. I am not delaying you, I am preparing you. The Lord will perfect that which concerns me. Psalm 138:8. And so each day you walk in faithfulness, even when unseen, is another stone I am placing into the foundation of what I have appointed for you to endure. Remember the story of Joseph, who carried great dreams within him, yet was cast into the darkest places. No one applauded when he was sold into slavery. No one praised him when he was unjustly imprisoned. Those years seemed buried and forgotten. Yet it was within that hidden place that I refined him, purified him, and prepared him for a position he could not have borne if it had been given too soon. And when the appointed time came, I brought him into the light not as one unfinished, but as one fully formed. What you perceive as delay, I call preparation. What you call silence, I call process. Therefore, do not fear the seasons when no one sees you. Do not despise the days when there is no outward confirmation, for it is precisely in those days that I am doing the deepest work within you. Those who sow in tears shall reap in joy. He who continually goes forth weeping, bearing seed for sowing, shall surely come again with rejoicing, bringing his sheaves with him. Psalm 126:5-6. So the tears you have sown have not been useless. They are becoming seeds for a harvest you have not yet seen. Keep walking. My beloved, there is no need to prove yourself, no need to display yourself. Remain faithful in the small things. For he who is faithful in what is least is faithful also in much. Luke 16:10. I have not forgotten you. I have not overlooked you. I am watching over you, not to condemn, but to affirm, to preserve, and to complete what I have begun within you. And the day will come, not according to the timing of the world, but according to my timing, when you will see that nothing you have lived in truth was meaningless. Everything is converging, like a quiet river flowing in secret, until one day it overflows into the fullness I prepared for you from the beginning. My beloved child, do not rush to shorten the road on which I am leading you, and do not let your heart waver when you look at the journey of another. Every soul I have created carries its own rhythm, its own process, its own appointed season, ordained by eternal wisdom. Some are brought into the light early, while others are kept longer in the hidden place, not because they are of lesser value, but because what I am forming within them requires greater depth and a stronger foundation. As it is written, to everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven. Ecclesiastes 3:1. So do not let comparison cause you to forget that your timing is held in my hand, not delayed, not misplaced, not forgotten. And it is precisely in those seasons that seem hidden that I am carrying out the most important work. I am refining every part of you, causing your faith to become not merely words, but your very nature. I am strengthening your foundation so that when you stand, nothing will be able to shake you. The days when no one sees are not an empty void without meaning. They are a sacred preparation room, where the story of your life is being written by grace and power. He will sit as a refiner and purifier of silver. Malachi 3:3. And you are the precious metal in my hands, passed through the fire, not to be destroyed, but to shine. Remember David, when he was still a young shepherd boy in the lonely fields. No one imagined that in that wilderness a future king was being formed. When he faced the lion and the bear, there were no witnesses, no audience, no applause. Yet in those quiet battles, courage and trust in me were being built within him. And when the day came for him to stand before Goliath, he did not rely on that moment to become strong. He carried with him what had already been formed in the hidden place. Therefore, do not despise what is happening when no one sees. That is precisely where I am preparing you for greater things you have not yet seen. Therefore, continue to walk forward, not as one who is being watched in order to be judged, but as one who is being kept within my embrace. Do not live as though you must prove your worth, but live as one who has been chosen and is being prepared. The Lord is your keeper. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. Psalm 121:5. And so, my gaze is not pressure, but protection. I do not watch you to find fault. I watch over you to keep you on the path I have appointed for you. Yet I also know there is a voice trying to slip quietly into your heart, a subtle misunderstanding that makes you feel as though you are being observed for judgment, as though every small mistake could disqualify you. That voice sows fear within you, causing you to shrink back just as I am opening a new door before you. But my child, that voice does not come from me, for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. 2 Timothy 1:7. And so anything that makes you tremble, withdraw, or question your worth does not bear my mark. What you are sensing is not a threat, but an awakening. I am opening your eyes so that you may perceive more clearly, so that you may walk more firmly, so that you no longer live in unawareness, but in wakefulness. Yet the awakening that comes from me does not produce fear. It produces steadiness. It does not make you want to run. It draws you forward. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. And so when my light touches you, it does not come to accuse, but to liberate. Therefore, my beloved, release that misunderstanding. Do not let fear cause you to stop just before what I am opening for you. Trust that you are within a process covered by love, guided by wisdom, and guarded by my power. And when the time comes when I open a door that no one can shut, you will not step forward as one unprepared, but as one who has been formed from within. I have set before you an open door, and no one can shut it. Revelation 3:8. And when you pass through, you will know that your journey is not random, but a sacred story written long ago within my heart. Keep going, my child. There is no need to rush, no need to compare, no need to fear, for I am with you not only at the end of the journey, but in every step you are taking, and in each step, I am completing what I have begun in you, until the day it is fully revealed in the light of the glory I have prepared for you from the beginning. My beloved child, there is a season in the journey I am leading you into where everything begins to sharpen your mind, perceives more clearly. Your choices carry deeper weight, and even the smallest things seem to speak more loudly within you. Do not be quick to think this is a burden pressing upon you. It is the sign of a process being lifted to a new level. Just as when light increases, every detail in a picture becomes clearer, not to break it, but to complete it, to reveal the beauty that was already there but not yet fully seen. So it is with you. The path of the righteous is like the light of dawn, that shines brighter and brighter until the full day. Proverbs 4:18. And so the increase of light is not a threat. It is the confirmation that you are drawing nearer to what I have ordained. Therefore, when you begin to feel as though you are being seen more clearly, do not immediately withdraw as one who needs to hide. Pause. Listen, and discern within your heart is what you are sensing coming from fear or from awareness. Darkness always seeks to distort awareness, turning it into panic so that you retreat. Just as you are standing at the threshold I am opening, it whispers that you are not enough, that you need more time, that you must become perfect before you step forward. But my child, I have never required perfection as the condition for entering what is new. I seek faithfulness, a heart that continues to choose me, that remains steady, that keeps walking even without outward assurance. And it is this very faithfulness that has brought you to this place. Remember Esther, who was kept within the palace for a season before being brought before the king. It was not because she lacked value, but because the time had not yet come, because her heart needed to be prepared for something greater than herself. And when the moment arrived, she did not step forward as one without flaw, but as one positioned in purpose. Yet who knows whether you have come to the kingdom for such a time as this? Esther 4:14. In the same way, the season you are standing in is not random. It is the intersection between preparation and revelation. So, do not mistake clarity for threat, and do not misinterpret attention as pursuit. I have not placed you in the light to make you afraid. I have placed you in the light so that you may reflect what I have placed within you. You are the light of the world. Let your light so shine before men. Matthew 5:14-16. Light is not given to you so that you may hide it, but so that it may be expressed through you naturally, without strain and without fear. And if there is still a trembling within you when you face what is greater, remember this word: do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. Isaiah 41:10. I do not stand far away to observe you. I am near to uphold you. I am not merely waiting for you to step forward. I go before you to make the way. What you feel is too great is not beyond you. It is beyond your former self. And that is exactly what I am doing. bringing you out of old limitations into a greater expanse. Anchor your heart in this truth. You are not being watched to be found at fault. You are being seen to be affirmed. There is no gaze of mine upon you with the intent to cause you to fall. Every look of mine is to lift you up and to complete what I have begun within you. He who has begun a good work in you will complete it until the day of Jesus Christ. Philippians 1-6. So, when you feel the increase of light, do not step back, step forward. And the time will come when the door I have appointed to open is revealed, that you will no longer experience being seen as pressure, but as confirmation. You will stand firm not because you no longer have weakness, but because you know you are held within me. And when others look upon your journey, they will not only see the steps you have taken, but they will recognize that there has been a hand guiding you all along, a story not written by chance, but by my love, my grace, and my eternal purpose for you, my beloved child. Do not let the feeling of being seen cause your heart to waver, as though you were standing before something frightening. My gaze is not like the gaze of man. It does not scrutinize. It does not condemn. It does not wait for you to stumble in order to accuse. I look upon you as a shepherd looks upon his beloved flock, as a father watches over his child with quiet yet complete care. That gaze does not make you shrink. It surrounds you with peace. When you sense an unseen attention around you, do not rush to interpret it as a threat. Recognize that you may be standing at the threshold of a transition from hiddenness into revelation, from being misunderstood into being affirmed. As it is written, the Lord loves justice and does not forsake his saints. Psalm 37:28. And so, my presence around you is not to confuse you, but to preserve you until the appointed time is fulfilled. Do not think that you must bring yourself into the light, nor strain to prove your worth before anyone. What I have placed within you does not need your promotion to become real. It needs my timing to be revealed in the right way. I am the one who positions you, and I never place you in the wrong place or at the wrong time. When the time is right, I, the Lord, will make it happen. Isaiah 60:22. So everything I am preparing for you has a precise moment, neither earlier nor later. When that day comes, you will not need words to persuade, for your life itself will become a testimony that cannot be denied. Remember, the faithful servant in my parable, the one who quietly fulfilled his responsibility even when no one was watching. When the master returned, he did not need to justify himself or elevate himself, for his faithfulness spoke on his behalf. And I said, well done, good and faithful servant, enter into the joy of your Lord. Matthew 25:21. So it is with you. The years you have walked through in silence are not an empty void. They are the place where I am accumulating weight for your testimony. The right choices you have kept in secret, the times you chose integrity when no one saw, the moments you persevered without affirmation, all of these are being woven together into a story that no one will be able to deny when it is revealed. And when you are placed into the position I have prepared, your voice will not need to be loud to be heard. It will carry a weight that does not come from personal effort, but from my very presence within you. As it is written, the mouth of the righteous speaks wisdom, and his tongue talks of justice. Psalm 37:30. So what you speak will no longer be merely your own thoughts, but will bear the confirmation of heaven. You will not need to seek attention, for the light within you will be recognized naturally. Therefore, my beloved, be at rest in this process. Do not fear when you begin to feel more clearly seen, for it is not exposure meant to shame you, but preparation to lift you at the appointed time. I do not bring you into the light before you are ready, and I do not keep you hidden when the time has come. Let your heart rest in this truth. You are being kept, guided, and prepared in fullness. Continue to walk in peace, without haste and without anxiety. For when I open a door, no one can shut it. And when I lift you up, no one can bring you down. And in that day, you will look back and understand not a single moment of your faithfulness was wasted. Not a single quiet step was forgotten. All of it has been gathered by me, illuminated, and used to write your story of glory in the light of eternity. My beloved child, there are seasons when you feel as though you are standing at the edge of every story, like a quiet shadow passing through the crowd without anyone turning to notice. There are days when you wonder whether your presence truly carries any significance, or whether you are merely a passing breeze that leaves no trace behind. But I tell you with both gentleness and certainty, the very place where you feel forgotten is the place where I am working most deeply within you. When the noise of recognition fades, when you are no longer pulled by the gaze of others to define yourself, that is when I begin to inscribe upon your soul marks that cannot be erased. As it is written, "Be still, and know that I am God," Psalm 46:10. For, in that stillness, you do not lose your value. You are being reshaped into your true worth within me. Remember Hagar, the woman in the wilderness, a soul who believed she had been removed from the story, cast out from a place that once felt like home. She carried the pain of rejection and walked into a barren land, made desolate not only by the burning sand but also by the emptiness within her heart. Yet it was precisely in that unseen place that she encountered me under a name few truly recognize, El Roi, the God who sees. I saw her not to expose her weakness, but to answer the cry no one else could hear. And she said in wonder, "You are the God who sees me." Genesis 16:13. Do you see? My child, to be seen by me is more real than any recognition the world can give. When you think you are invisible, you are in fact being seen most clearly in my light. Therefore, do not confuse silence with absence, nor assume that being unnoticed means being without value. There are works I can only accomplish within you when you are no longer distracted by outward voices. There are depths within your soul that can only be opened when you are alone with me, free from the pressure of expectations and comparisons. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Psalm 34:18. So in the very moments when you feel most abandoned, I am nearer than ever, not standing at a distance, but bending low, touching, lifting, and healing you. Think of David when he was still a shepherd boy in the fields. No one invited him to the gathering where a king would be chosen. No one considered him a worthy candidate. Even when the prophet Samuel came, his family did not think to call him in. Yet it was in that overlooked place that I chose him. It was where no one saw that I saw. And when the appointed time came, I did not seek him among the crowd, but called him from the pasture, the place where he had learned faithfulness, where he had sung to me when no one listened, where he had fought the lion and the bear when no one witnessed it. Man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. 1 Samuel 16:7. And so what the world overlooks, I lift up. What you consider small, I call foundational. My beloved, the tears you have shed in secret do not vanish into emptiness. The prayers you have whispered when you had no strength do not dissolve into the wind. The times you rose again though your heart was weary are not overlooked. All of it is being recorded not as a lifeless account, but as a living story being written in eternity. Those who sow in tears shall reap in joy. Psalm 126:5. And so, what you are experiencing is not loss, but sowing. Understand this deeply. When you feel as though you have no voice, it does not mean your story is silent. It is being written in a language that human eyes cannot read, but heaven understands fully. When you think you are not making an impact, You are influencing in the deepest way, quietly, without display, yet enduring and true. And the time will come, when I unveil what I have prepared, that you will realize not a single moment was meaningless. Not a single day was wasted. So do not fear the hidden seasons. My child, do not rush to escape the place where I am at work, for in the very place where you feel forgotten, I am remembering you most. And when you look back, you will see that you have not merely read stories of faith, you have become part of that story, written by my own hand, marked with a beauty that cannot be replaced, a signature that cannot be copied, and a purpose established from the beginning. My beloved child, cease looking at yourself through mirrors distorted by the noise of the world. The standards people construct shift with emotion and circumstance, and if you rely on them to measure yourself, your heart will remain unsteady. I did not create you to become a copy of anyone, nor did I place you into a common mold for you to force yourself into. Every soul into which I breathed life carries a distinct imprint, a rhythm that cannot be repeated, a calling that belongs to that soul alone. When you try to reshape yourself into another image, you move away from what I have placed deep within you from the beginning. But when you accept who you are in my light, not with complacency, but with true awareness, you begin to reflect a beauty that no one can imitate. As it is written, we are His workmanship, created for good works which God prepared beforehand. Ephesians 2:10. And so you are not a mistake in need of correction, but a work in the process of being perfected. There are times when you think you must reach a certain level of perfection before you are worthy to be loved, as though love were a reward reserved for those without flaw. But my child, my love does not operate in that way. I do not love you because you have finished. I love you even as you are being formed. That love is not the destination, it is the foundation. It is my love that makes transformation possible. God demonstrates His own love toward us, in that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. Romans 5:8. And so you do not need to become worthy before you are embraced. I came to you first, and within that embrace, you are being changed day by day. Remember Peter, a man full of zeal, yet also full of weakness. He once declared that he would never deny me, yet in fear of human eyes, he denied me 3 times. By the standard of perfection, he failed, but I did not abandon him, nor did I define him by that moment. I saw beyond his failure, perceiving the rock upon which I would build something great, and the one who once trembled became a bold voice, leading many into life. Do you see? I do not wait for you to be perfect before I use you. I love you, keep you, and transform you within the process itself. Therefore, let this truth lift you. You are enough in my sight, not because you are without flaw, but because I am within you and at work in you. My grace is sufficient for you, 2 Corinthians 12-9. And within that sufficiency, you do not need to strive to become another version of yourself to be accepted. What you need is to remain open, allowing me to complete what I have begun. I do not force change upon you through pressure. I lead you into transformation through my presence. When you look at yourself, do not fixate only on what is unfinished and forget what is being built. Do not focus solely on the cracks and miss the light that is shining through them. For he who has begun a good work in you will complete it. Philippians 1-6. And so each day you are drawing nearer to the wholeness I have ordained, not through strained effort, but through gentle cooperation with my hand. When you think about the future, do not imagine that you must become a stranger to yourself, a version that does not belong to you. I am not calling you away from who you are. I am calling you back to who you are, the one I have seen from the beginning. And along that path, you will realize that you are no longer chasing worth or seeking validation from the outside, but living from the worth that has already been placed within you. Therefore, my beloved, rise with this renewed understanding. Walk not as one striving to prove that you are enough, but as one who knows that you have already been established in love. When you live from that place, peace will guard your heart, and the light within you will flow outward naturally, without strain, without comparison. And day by day, you will come to see that your journey is not a race to become someone else, but a path of becoming whole in the very person I created you to be, with a beauty, a purpose, and a glory that no one can replace. My beloved child, you do not stand where you are as a result of chance, drifting aimlessly through life. None of your steps are without direction, and none of your circumstances are the product of randomness. I have placed you in this very position with a depth of purpose that your understanding may not yet fully grasp. Even the emotions you carry, the subtle stirrings within you, the thoughts others cannot understand. The moments when you feel different are all part of the process I am shaping within you. For as it is written, the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delights in his way. Psalm 37:23. So you are not misplaced. You are exactly where I desire you to be. There are things within you that even you cannot fully explain, a sensitivity to what cannot be seen, a stirring that not everyone feels, a depth of emotion that at times makes you feel out of place among others. But my child, this is not a burden meant to isolate you. It is a sign of preparation. I am expanding your capacity so that you may see further, feel more deeply, and understand what others have not yet perceived. I am not doing this to separate you from the world, but to shape you as a forerunner, one who can step into places where others have not yet found the way. Remember Joseph, who carried dreams that no one around him could understand. Those very dreams led to his rejection, his misunderstanding, even his being sold as though he were nothing more than a commodity. Yet what others saw as difference was the very key to his destiny. In the years of imprisonment and obscurity, I did not depart from him. I was preparing him. And when the appointed time came, it was his ability to perceive what others could not that lifted him into a place where he could preserve an entire nation. The Lord was with Joseph, Genesis 39:2. And so, even when circumstances appeared contrary, the purpose was still being fulfilled. So it is with you, my beloved. What you are experiencing, whether it seems small or difficult to understand, is being woven together for a moment you cannot yet fully see. When you look with natural eyes, you may think that where you stand is unremarkable, that your role is insignificant. But when you see through my light, you will recognize that every detail is being arranged to prepare for a time when your presence will bring change. As it was spoken to Esther, who knows whether you have come to the kingdom for such a time as this? Esther 4:14. That word does not belong only to one person in the past. It is being spoken into your life even now. Therefore, do not diminish what I am doing within you, simply because others do not recognize it. Do not question the value of where you stand just because it has not yet been elevated. I do not measure you by the attention of the world. I see you through the purpose I have placed within you. And when the time comes, you will not need to compete to be heard, for your voice will carry a weight that comes from me. Continue to walk in trust. My child, do not fear your uniqueness, for within it I have placed my imprint. Do not shrink from the depth I am forming within you, for it is that very depth that will lead you into wholeness. And day by day, as you remain open and follow my leading, you will come to understand that you are not merely moving through random circumstances, but walking within a story. I have written a story in which every detail, every emotion, Every position carries meaning, all converging toward a moment when you will rise and become who you were destined to be from the beginning. My beloved, be steadfast in this. You are not being shaped for things that are small or temporary, but for a role that carries influence far beyond what you can presently see. The days you learn patience, the moments you choose to listen rather than react, the times you remain faithful without recognition, all of these are becoming the foundation for a voice that will open pathways for others. What you are receiving today is not for you alone. It will become a key for others to step through doors they do not yet know how to open. As it is written, you shall be called the repairer of the breach, the restorer of paths to dwell in. Isaiah 58:12. And so your journey does not end with you, it becomes the path I prepare for those who will come after. So do not let your heart grow heavy when you do not yet understand everything. And do not be troubled when you cannot see the whole picture. I do not require you to grasp every detail. I invite you to trust. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. Proverbs 3:5. And as you walk in peace, even without full clarity, you are standing upon a foundation stronger than your own understanding. The quiet days are not a sign that you have been forgotten. They are the place where I am preparing you carefully, like a craftsman completing his work before bringing it into the light. Remember Moses, one who was raised in a palace, yet was led into the wilderness for many long years. He may have thought those years were delay or misdirection, yet it was in the wilderness that I taught him to listen, to endure, to recognize my voice in stillness. And when the time came, he did not rise as one unprepared, but as one deeply formed. I will be with your mouth and teach you what you shall say. Exodus 4:12. And so his voice did not come from his own confidence, but from my presence within him. So it is with you. What you are learning today will become your strength tomorrow. Let your heart rest in this unshakable truth. My gaze never causes you to shrink. I do not look upon you to make you afraid or to cause you to doubt yourself. Every time I look upon you, I am lifting you, affirming that you belong to me and that you are rightly placed within the flow of purpose. I have called you by your name. You are mine. Isaiah 43:1. And so your value does not depend on how the world sees you, but is defined by me, the one who knows you from beginning to end. The world may measure you by success or failure, and its perception may shift with every season. But I see you with complete understanding. I see what you have been through. I know what you are carrying, and I understand who you are becoming. Within my gaze, there is no room for doubt about your worth. There is only affirmation that you are part of a purpose I established from the beginning, that you are being led without error, that every step you take holds meaning. Therefore, my beloved, continue to walk in peace. There is no need to strain to prove yourself, no need to run ahead of the pace I have set. Walk step by step with the assurance that I am at work even when you do not see, even when you do not yet understand. And when the appointed time comes, you will rise not with confusion, but with certainty. You will look back and realize that not a single moment of your journey was meaningless. All of it has been converging to bring you into the very place I have prepared, where your voice carries weight, where your life becomes a doorway, and where you stand not only for yourself, but for those I am leading through you, in a purpose and a glory that cannot be shaken. My beloved child, you do not need to depart from who you are in order to become worthy before me. I do not call you to become a distant image, nor do I require you to put on a nature that does not belong to you. I breathed life into you with clear intention, and the very being you carry has been woven from my purpose, not from chance. You are written in my light, not formed by the darkness of the world. You are held in my love, not bound by shifting conditions. For as it is written, I will praise you. For I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Psalm 139:14. And so you are not a mistake in need of correction, but a marvelous creation being revealed piece by piece. Perhaps you have looked at moments in your life and considered them too small to matter, days that seem to pass without imprint, actions that go unnoticed. But my child, nothing you live, in truth, is ever forgotten. Every step, every choice, every quiet tear is held by me, not because I need to remember, but because I am preparing a moment when all that has been formed within you will be revealed with a depth even you have not yet perceived. Those who sow in tears shall reap in joy. Psalm 126:5. And so what you thought was loss is becoming seed for what is to come. Therefore, stand upright, my child, not in the pride of self, but in the steadiness of belonging. You are not an abandoned draft, nor an unfinished story. You are a work moving toward completion in the timing I have set. Each line etched with care and love. He who has begun a good work in you will complete it. Philippians 1-6. And so what I have begun in you will not be left incomplete. When you sense that you are being seen, do not interpret it as surveillance meant to uncover faults. I do not watch you to condemn. I am present to lift you. My gaze does not cause you to shrink, but opens you into safety. And when you feel as though your life is being recorded, do not assume it is evidence gathered to accuse you. Recognize instead that it is preparation, a quiet accumulation for the day you will be revealed, with a confirmation no one can deny. You have counted my wanderings, put my tears into your bottle. Psalm 56:8. And so, not a single moment of your life is without meaning in my sight. Remember David, who was anointed king while still very young, yet returned to the wilderness to tend sheep for many years. The promise had been given, but the manifestation had not yet come. In those years, no one saw his future glory. They saw only an ordinary shepherd. But I did not forget what I had spoken, nor did I abandon what I had begun. When the time came, I brought him into the light, not as one unprepared, but as one formed in the hidden place. So it is with you. What I have placed within you will be revealed at the right time, neither early nor late. My beloved, hold firmly to this truth as an unshakable foundation. Nothing in your life happens by chance. Every step you take, every emotion you carry, every season you pass through flows within an order that I am guiding. And we know that all things work together for good to those who love God. Romans 8:28. And so, even what you do not yet understand is being used to lead you into what is good. My beloved child, I know there are moments when you look at yourself and see only what is lacking, the parts still unfinished, and you wonder whether you are ready to step into what I am opening before you. But understand this deeply. No one steps into the light feeling completely ready. True readiness is not when fear disappears, but when you choose to rise while fear is still present. It is in the moment you decide to move forward, not because you no longer tremble, but because you trust that you are truly ready. As it is written, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Joshua 1:9. Not to deny fear, but to teach you not to let fear determine your direction. Do not think that those I use are people who have never been weak. Remember Gideon, one who hid himself in fear. Yet I called him a mighty man of valor, even when he could not see it within himself. I did not wait for him to become strong before I called him. I called him so that he would become strong. And as he walked forward, step by step, even with doubt, I revealed my power through him. So it is with you. I do not wait for you to be perfect before I lead you. I lead you in order to complete what I have placed within you. Look back on your journey, not through the lens of self-judgment, but through the light I am shining upon you. You have passed through long nights no one understood, carried wounds no one saw, and stood firm in moments when you could have fallen. These are not merely memories for you to recall, they have become authority within your life. The testing of your faith produces perseverance, James 1:3. And so what you have endured has not weakened you, it has made you deeper, steadier, and more true. No one can purchase what you have received through perseverance. No talent can replace the depth that has been formed within you through trials. That is why your steps now carry a weight you may not yet recognize, not the weight of pressure, but the weight of affirmation. It is the sign that you are no longer walking on the surface, but from a nature that has been shaped within. Remember David when he stood before Goliath. Others saw only a young man facing a giant warrior, but I saw a heart that had been trained through hidden battles. David did not become courageous in that moment. He carried the courage that had already been formed. And he said, "The Lord, who delivered me from the lion and the bear, will also deliver me from this Philistine." 1 Samuel 17:37. So it is with you. What you have overcome is becoming the foundation for what you are about to face. Therefore, my beloved, do not wait until you feel completely sufficient before you move. If you wait until fear disappears, you will remain still. But if you step forward in trust, even while your heart trembles, you will see my presence in every step you take. My power is made perfect in weakness, 2 Corinthians 12:9. And so the very place where you think you are not enough becomes the place where my sufficiency is revealed. Rise, my child, not because you are perfect, but because you have been prepared, not because you no longer doubt, but because you have chosen to trust. And as you walk, you will discover that readiness does not come before the step, it is formed within the act of stepping itself. I am with you, not only when you are strong, but even when you tremble. And in that union, your weakness and my strength, something greater than you is being revealed. My beloved child, I do not place upon your shoulders a hurried rhythm that wears down your soul, nor do I press you to run after the steps of others. What I desire from you is not speed, but steadiness in each step. Simply walk, but walk with the deep awareness that you are not alone. I go before you to prepare what you cannot yet see. I dwell within you to sustain you when you are weak, and I surround you to guard you from what you do not foresee. As it is written, the Lord himself goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Deuteronomy 31:8. And so every step you take is not reckless, but a sacred cooperation between you and me, a movement in which heaven and earth bear witness together. Therefore, when you sense yourself moving forward even slowly, even with hesitation, know that you are going in the right direction. I do not measure you by the distance you have traveled, but by the heart you place into each step. There are steps that seem small in your eyes, yet carry great value in mine, because they are built upon trust. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. Psalm 119:105. And so you do not need to see the entire road to continue. You need only the light for the next step. My beloved, today is not merely the end of an old season. It is a quiet yet powerful transition between two seasons. The days in which you were formed in hiddenness have not been erased, nor left behind like closed pages. Instead, they have become a living foundation for what I am about to reveal through you. The tears you have sown, the times you chose faithfulness in silence, the moments you stood firm when no one saw, all of these go with you, not as burdens, but as testimony. You shall remember all the way which the Lord your God has led you. Deuteronomy 8:2. For what you have walked through is not merely your past, it is the strength that is lifting you in the present. Look at Joshua as he stood before the Jordan. After years of walking quietly alongside Moses, he did not step into leadership as an empty man, but carried within him everything that had been formed in hiddenness. When the waters parted, it was not merely the miracle of a moment, but the result of an entire journey of preparation. And I said, "Be strong and courageous," Joshua 1-6, not because he had never felt fear, but because he had been positioned to move forward. So it is with you. As you step out of the old season, you do not leave empty-handed. You carry a journey that has grown deep enough to keep you steady, a foundation strong enough to sustain you in the days ahead. What you have lived through is not left behind. It has become part of you. It speaks through you. It upholds you. And as you enter the new season, you are not beginning from nothing. You are beginning from what I have already built within you. Therefore, my beloved, walk in peace. You do not need to understand everything, nor see every turn ahead. It is enough that you trust that I am at work, even in what you have not yet recognized. Every step you take is being guided. Every movement is held within the flow of purpose. And when you look back, you will see that nothing in your journey was accidental. Everything has been connected, arranged, and directed by my hand. Keep walking, my child. There is no need to move faster, no need to be stronger, only to remain true with me and faithful in each small step. For I am there going before you, dwelling within you, and surrounding you to lead you into what I have ordained from the beginning. A place where you will not only stand firm, but shine in the fullness of who you are. My beloved child, there are relationships that have left your life, and your heart has felt them as loss, as though a part of you had been taken away. But I tell you this, not every departure is a loss. Often it is my hand refining you gently, yet decisively. I do not remove what is precious merely to cause you pain. I remove what no longer aligns with where you are being led, so that you do not carry the weight of yesterday into the doorway of tomorrow. As it is written, every branch that bears fruit he prunes, that it may bear more fruit. John 15:2. And so the pruning you feel is not lack, but preparation for a fullness you have not yet seen. And when your heart feels empty, as though there is a space you cannot quite name, do not be quick to fear or to fill it with what is familiar. That emptiness is not without meaning. It is the space I am preparing to fill with something new. If you hold tightly to everything old, there will be no room for what I desire to place within you. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. Shall you not know it? Isaiah 43:19. And so within the very departures you are experiencing, a new current is being opened, a current that can only come when you are willing to release. Even the weariness you carry is not a sign of weakness, as you may think. I see something different, a soul in the midst of travail. You are not weary because you lack strength, but because something within you is growing. Just as a mother feels heaviness not because the life within her is a burden, but because it is developing. So you are carrying something spiritual that is being formed. If anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation, 2 Corinthians 5:17. And that newness requires adjustment, release, and change so that you may align with what I am doing. Your weariness is not the end. It is the sign that you are no longer where you once were. Remember Elijah, who became so weary after great battles that he wished to give up. He believed himself to be weak, convinced that he had nothing left to continue. But I did not define him as he defined himself. I gave him rest. I provided him with nourishment. And then I spoke to him in a gentle whisper, not in the wind, nor in the earthquake. And afterward, I continued to use him. Do you see? My child, weariness does not disqualify you from my purpose. It is simply a sign that you need to be renewed in me in order to keep going. My beloved, pay attention to the small stirrings you sense within your heart. when you feel drawn to tidy a corner long neglected, when you sense the need to write something you have delayed, when you desire to change how you spend your time, when you find that old habits no longer fit you, these are not random thoughts. It is I who am leading you, step by step, gently yet clearly. I do not always begin with what is grand. I begin with what is small yet right. And when you respond to these small promptings, you are aligning yourself with the movement of heaven in your daily life. He who is faithful in what is least is faithful also in much. Luke 16:10. And so within what you consider small, I am building what is great. My beloved child, I did not place light within you for it to remain buried as something hidden, nor did I give you a voice for it to remain forever unspoken. What I place within you always carries movement, direction, and a purpose that must be revealed in its appointed time. My presence within you is not meant to cause you to withdraw, but to reflect what I am doing through you. Therefore, do not think you were created to stand at the margins, watching life pass without entering into it. You are called to participate, to step forward, to become a living part of what I am unfolding. You are the light of the world, nor do they light a lamp and put it under a basket. Matthew 5:14-15. And so the light within you is not meant to remain hidden, but to shine when the time has come. I know that you still tremble at times, that questions remain unanswered, that there are spaces within you you do not yet understand. But, my child, I do not require you to see the whole picture before you move. I simply call you to step one step in trust, one step in obedience, one step in gentleness toward my leading. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Hebrews 11:1. And so, what you do not yet see is not a sign to stop, but an invitation to move forward in faith. Look again at your life in this very moment, for the signs I am placing around you are not random. Doors that once seemed closed are beginning to open quietly, without display, yet clearly enough for you to recognize that you are no longer standing still. Those who once did not listen now begin to pause when you speak, as though something within you has become clearer, more weighty. This is not a random shift in your environment. It is the evidence of a transformation within you. He who opens and no one shuts, and shuts and no one opens. Revelation 3:7. And so, when I begin to open, you do not need to force anything. You only need to recognize it and step in. The ideas that once came and went, like passing wind, are now returning with a clarity you can no longer ignore. You feel them knocking upon your heart, refusing to leave you at rest until you respond. You may think they are merely your own thoughts, but I tell you the truth. It is I who am sowing and calling you into partnership. I have not only given you the ability to think, I have given you understanding to act. And when what I place within you returns again and again, growing in weight each time, it is no longer just an idea, it is an assignment. Even the changes you notice in your voice, in the way you stand, in the way you carry your presence, these are not random. You may interpret them as fleeting emotions, but I am adjusting you from within. I am restoring order in your soul, so that what is outward no longer reflects the withdrawal of former days, but the steadiness of your new position. The righteous shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water. Psalm 1:3. And so when you begin to speak with greater clarity, when you stand without retreating, when you show up without seeking permission, these are signs that you are stepping into what I have ordained. Remember Jeremiah, who as a young man said he did not know how to speak, that he was too small to carry the calling. But I touched his mouth and said, Behold, I have put my words in your mouth. Jeremiah 1:9. He did not become sufficient before he was sent. He was sent so that he might discover what I had already placed within him. So it is with you. I do not wait for your confidence to be complete before calling you to speak. I place my words within you so that you may learn to speak through me. Therefore, my beloved, do not resist the transition you are sensing. Do not return to silence when I am opening your voice. Do not withdraw when I am expanding you. This is not the time to hide what I have placed within you. This is the time to begin expressing it, not through pressure, but through surrender. Step forward. My child, you do not need to understand everything, nor be certain of every detail. It is enough that you trust that I am within you, leading you and working through you. And as you walk in that leading, you will realize that you are not merely living, you are being revealed, being positioned, and becoming a voice that carries the light I have placed within you from the beginning. My beloved child, do not think that every time I step into your life, there must be a great sound resounding. The heavens must open before your eyes, or there must be a sign that makes the whole world stand in awe. Many times, I come so gently that only a tender soul can recognize me, like morning dew resting on the blade of grass before dawn, like a warm breath passing through a quiet room, like a pure thought suddenly returning and causing your heart to grow still. There are moments when everything around you remains ordinary. People still talk and laugh. Work still continues. Days still pass by. Yet, inside you, something is no longer the same. It is in that silence that I am placing my hand upon your soul. It is within that hidden trembling that I am calling you to enter a new season. One your eyes have not yet fully seen, but your heart has already begun to feel. I do not always awaken you through violent events, because the deepest things do not need noise to prove they are real. When I created life, I did not only use power that shook heaven and earth, I also breathed into man, and that breath turned dust into a living soul. Do you see? What creates life is not always an outward sound, but the invisible breath that comes from me. Therefore, when there is suddenly a lightness within you that you cannot explain, when your mind begins to release the burdens that once tightened around it, when you feel that you are no longer being swept away, as before, by familiar things, do not consider it a small matter. The Spirit of God has made me. The breath of the Almighty gives me life. Job 33:4. That breath is still moving, still touching, still softening the hardened places within you. There are times when you search for me in places too far away, while I am standing very near to you. You long for an answer as clear as lightning tearing across the sky. Yet I send you a very gentle peace, a clear inward sense, an invitation that does not force you. You ask, are you doing something? I tell you, yes. I am doing something, but I am doing it in my own way. As Elijah once stood on the mountain waiting for me, he saw a mighty wind, saw the earth tremble, saw fire blaze forth. Yet my deep and hidden presence came in a still, small voice. So do not look down on what is gentle. Do not think that what is tender is weak. Sometimes the smallest call carries the power to turn an entire life around. Remember Samuel, when he was still a child serving in the temple. That night, no army of angels appeared before his eyes. No fire fell from heaven, and no trumpet thundered through the holy place. There was only a voice, very near and very personal. Samuel, Samuel. At first, he did not recognize that it was me. So he ran to Eli the priest. But I patiently called again, until his heart learned how to answer, Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening. 1 Samuel 3:10. My child, many things I am doing within you are just like that. At first, you may not understand, may not be able to name it, may not know whether it is guidance or only a vague movement in your heart. But when you stop, Listen and place your soul before me. You will recognize this. It is not the echo of coincidence, but the invitation of the one who loves you. Therefore, do not be quick to deny the small changes in your spirit. Sometimes you simply notice that you no longer want to keep walking on an old path. Sometimes you begin to feel that certain things which once attracted you have now become dull. Sometimes you suddenly desire more stillness, more purity, more honesty, more closeness to me. That is not loss. My dear child, that is refinement. I am separating you from the noises that made you forget my voice. I am drawing you out of rhythms of life that have exhausted your soul. I am teaching you to distinguish between what merely stirs your mind and what truly brings your soul back into peace. For it is written, "The peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds." Philippians 4:7. When that peace appears, even very softly, hold on to it as one holds a lamp in the night. I know there are times when you fear you may be imagining too much. You ask yourself whether that inward sense can be trusted, whether that silence truly carries any meaning, whether the shifting within your heart is only a passing emotion. But I do not condemn you for those questions. I only want you not to let doubt harden the place where I am touching you. Not everything that comes from me arrives with immediate certainty. There are seeds that must be hidden in the soil before the green shoot rises. There are promises that must be covered in silence before they blossom in the light. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? Isaiah 43:19. Let that word awaken your heart, because the new thing often begins very small. But if it comes from me, it will grow in its appointed season. And you also need to understand this. I do not work only during solemn hours of prayer, nor do I speak to you only when you are in a holy place or when you feel good enough. I can call you while you are walking on the road, while you are doing something familiar, while you are sitting quietly among thoughts you have not yet spoken. I called Moses from the burning bush in the wilderness, called Gideon while he was threshing wheat in a hidden place, called Matthew right at the tax collector's table, and called Peter by the edge of the boat after days of labor. I am not limited by the setting. What I desire is a heart that knows how to pause long enough to recognize that an ordinary moment can become holy ground when I am present. Therefore, my beloved child, when a strange wind passes through your inner being, do not be quick to push it away. When your heart suddenly softens before something that once made you hardened, do not look down on it. When you feel invited to step out of the oldness of your thoughts, habits, fears, an old way of seeing life, know that I am opening a path. Not every path begins with a great door. Some paths begin with only a very thin ray of light. But if you follow that light, you will see that it leads you into a space far wider than you imagined. I am nearer to you than you think. I do not need to shake your world in order to prove that I am at work. If I touch the deepest part of you, everything will eventually change from the root. Listen to the peace. Treasure the small movements. Let your heart remain tender before the quiet call. For in the place you think is silence, I may be speaking. In the place you think is emptiness, I may be planting seeds. And in the place you think nothing is happening, I myself may be beginning a holy work, gentle, yet full of power to lead you into what I prepared beforehand for your life. My beloved child, I want you to understand that no movement in the depths of your soul is meaningless when it is placed under my light. There are things so small that you may easily treat them as passing moments, a heartbeat that suddenly slows, a sense that you no longer belong to what is old, a very gentle restlessness that is just enough to make you pause, an ordinary moment that suddenly becomes strangely sacred. Do not be quick to dismiss these things as though they were merely temporary emotions. Many times, I do not begin a great work with a loud sound, but with a very quiet touch in the most hidden place within you. When a seed is sown into the earth, it does not make a sound, yet in silence it breaks open. In darkness it begins to live. And then, at the right season, the whole ground must witness that life rising. Therefore, when your heart suddenly undergoes a change that your mind has not yet been able to explain, bring it before me in peace. Do not be afraid of the small tremblings within you, and do not let them be drowned out by the hurried noises of life. I do not call you to follow confusion. I call you to walk in discernment. There are anxieties that come from fear, but there are also stirrings that come from awakening. There are restless feelings that draw you away from me, but there are also movements that cause you to seek me more deeply. That is why you must learn to discern, not through tension, but through abiding in me. Your ears shall hear a word behind you, saying, "This is the way, walk in it." Isaiah 30:21. That voice does not always sound like a command in the public square. Many times, it comes like a thin stream of light leading you away from the darkness you had grown used to. I know there are times when you long for me to give you a sign so clear that you no longer have to wonder. You want everything to be placed right before your eyes. You want the door to open wide. You want the answer to be written out like words upon a wall. But my beloved child, if I always led you only by what your eyes could see, your heart would not learn the sensitivity of faith. I do not want you to follow only what impresses you. I want you to recognize me even in what is gentle and subtle. For we walk by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5:7. Faith is not closing your eyes to reality. It is opening your heart to a deeper reality, where I am already moving before the outward circumstances have changed. Perhaps you are in the middle of a very ordinary day, and nothing special seems to be happening. You do familiar tasks, meet familiar people, walk old paths, and hear old sounds. But suddenly, a stillness settles within your heart, as though I have placed my gentle hand upon your weary, racing thoughts. That moment may be brief, but do not treat it lightly. It may be the place where I open a new stream. It may be the moment when I separate you from the hurried rhythm so you can hear what you have missed. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. Silence is not a meaningless emptiness in my hands. It becomes the room where your soul is taught to listen. Remember Mary, the sister of Martha? When I came to visit their home, Martha was busy with many things that needed to be done, and her heart was stretched thin by service and worry. But Mary chose to sit at the Lord's feet, to listen to His word, and to remain in that presence. People may have looked at her and thought she was not doing much, but I said that she had chosen the better part, the part that would not be taken away from her. Do you see? Sometimes the most precious thing is not found in busyness, but in the ability to stop and recognize that I am near. When you learn to sit quietly before me, like Mary, you will no longer be ruled by the noise outside. You will begin to hear the gentle voice that is reshaping you within. I also want you to remember the story of Jacob while he was running away. He left home in anxiety, carrying fear, mistakes, and an unclear future. When night fell, he lay down in the wilderness, resting his head on a cold stone. Outwardly, nothing about that place looked holy. It was only barren ground, darkness, and a weary man. Yet, right there, I opened the heavens for him to see a ladder connecting earth with heaven, angels ascending and descending, and my promise covering his life. When Jacob awoke, he said, "Surely the Lord is in this place." And I did not know it. Genesis 28:16. My beloved child, there are times when you are just like that, You think you are only passing through an ordinary day, a dry season, a quiet, empty place, but I can turn that very place into a gate of heaven. Therefore, do not wait until everything becomes radiant before you believe that I am at work. Do not demand that your life be shaken before you call it guidance. I am teaching you to recognize more hidden signs, peace that makes no logical sense in circumstances that have not yet changed, a holy stirring that makes you desire to live more purely, a strangeness toward what once held you captive, a longing for prayer rising again after days when your heart had grown cold, a softening in the place where you once were hardened. These things are not small before me. They are the first springs of a river being opened. Rivers of living water will flow from within him, John 7:38. And before that river overflows, it often begins with a very quiet spring. My child, keep your heart tender, for a tender heart is good soil, where my word can take root. Do not let the blows of the world make you so hardened that you can no longer sense the breath of the Spirit. Do not let anxieties, news, voices, comparison, and hurriedness cover the doorway of your heart. I do not want you to live in tension, trying to guess everything I am doing. I want you to live in such nearness that when I gently call, you recognize me. Just as sheep know the voice of their shepherd, you too will learn to recognize my voice, not because it is always the loudest, but because it carries life. My sheep hear my voice, I know them, and they follow me. John 10:27. My voice does not tear your soul apart. My voice leads you into order, healing, and peace. If there are times when you do not yet understand what you are feeling, simply come to me. You do not need to rush to name every movement within your heart. There are things I will explain immediately, but there are also things I will let you carry in prayer until they become ripe. Remember, a pregnant mother does not see the child growing hour by hour, yet she still knows that life is being formed in the hidden place. In the same way, there are promises I am forming within you before you can hold them in your hands. For the vision is yet for an appointed time. It hastens toward the end and will not lie. Habakkuk 2:3. What I begin does not need you to force it hastily into the light. It needs you to trust, protect, and walk with me day by day. So then, my beloved child, when a strange inward sense touches your heart, become still instead of rushing past it. When you feel that something is changing in the deeper layers, pray instead of becoming afraid. When I draw you out of what is old, do not cling to it merely because it is familiar. I am not taking away your true peace. I am only separating you from things that disguise themselves as peace, while quietly drawing you away from me. My plan for you is not disaster, but hope, not endless uncertainty, but a path opened at the right time. And when you learn to stand still in that holy silence, you will recognize that I have never been distant, never abandoned you, never stopped speaking. I have only been speaking in a language deeper than the voices of this world, the language of peace, of light, of life, of love that does not force, yet faithfully leads you into what I prepared long before you knew how to name it. My beloved child, do not think that when I act, every door must burst open with a violent sound, every wall must collapse before your eyes, or every change must come in a moment that overwhelms you. I can work that way, but many times I choose a path that is gentler, more hidden, and more holy. I place a small ray of light in the deepest part of your heart before I change the circumstances around you. That light does not frighten you, does not push you, does not cause you to lose your peace. It simply shines quietly upon a dark corner where you once became accustomed to living, so that you begin to realize that the old place is no longer where you belong. As it is written, God is light, In him there is no darkness at all. 1 John 1:5. When the light I kindle within you appears, even if it is very small, it carries the nature of heaven. It does not need noise to overcome darkness, because its very presence is already a declaration that the old night no longer has authority over your soul. There are times when you do not yet see anything outwardly changing, but inside you have already begun to feel unsettled with things that once seemed normal. You still walk along old paths, still hear familiar words, still do ordinary tasks, but something deep within you has been awakened. You find that you can no longer return to the old way of thinking with the same comfort as before. You feel a gentle prompting, as though I am placing my hand on your shoulder and quietly turning you toward another direction. Do not call that confusion. My dear child, bring it into prayer and let me teach you discernment. For the light of the righteous shines brightly, but the lamp of the wicked will be put out. Proverbs 13:9. When I cause the light of righteousness within you to grow, the habits, environments, and choices that once fed darkness will gradually become unfamiliar. That is not loss. It is a sign that you are being set apart for a higher rhythm of life. I do not always begin by changing the door, the road, the people, or the circumstances. Many times, I begin by adjusting your ability to perceive, for if your inner being has not been awakened, then even when the door opens, you may still walk through it with an old mindset, carrying old fear, old reactions, and an old way of seeing. I do not only want to bring you to a new place, I want you to become a new person, tender enough, wise enough, and peaceful enough to receive what I am opening. I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit within you. Ezekiel 36:26. Do you see? Before I rebuild what is outside, I often replace the heart within before I enlarge the territory. I enlarge the soul before I change your position. I change the way you hear, the way you see, and the way you respond to my call. Remember Joseph, the son who was sold in pain, misunderstood in a stranger's house, and forgotten in the darkness of prison. Outwardly, it seemed as though every door was closed, but within him, I was quietly shaping a soul that could stand before a king without losing the fear of me. Before Joseph entered the palace, I taught him faithfulness in Potiphar's house. Before he interpreted Pharaoh's dream, I taught him to listen in the prison. Before the robe of authority was placed upon his shoulders, I trained his heart so that authority would not corrupt him. When the appointed time came, everyone only saw a door open in a single day, but I had prepared him for many years. The Lord was with Joseph, Genesis 39:2, not only when he was lifted up, but also when he was brought low. My beloved child, I am preparing you in the same way, quietly, steadily, and intentionally, so that when the outward change appears, you will not be surprised, swept away, or lose yourself. Therefore, when you feel that something is moving in the deep places, though your eyes have not yet seen its form, do not be quick to fear. There are stirrings that come not to make you anxious, but to awaken you. There are unfamiliar feelings that are not signs of chaos, but the gentle bell of the Spirit calling you to adjust your direction. I use those tremblings as a holy fence of protection, so that you will not walk too far into a place that is not meant for you, will not cling too tightly to what I am about to loosen, and will not fall asleep right before the threshold of a new season. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. Psalm 119:105. A lamp does not always illuminate the entire long road. Many times, it gives only enough light for the next step. But that next step, if taken with me, will lead you to the exact place I have appointed. You need to learn the difference between the panic of life and the awakening of heaven. Panic makes you rush, causes you to doubt my love, and sends you searching for answers in every outside voice. But the awakening that comes from me, though it may cause you to pause, does not steal your deepest foundation of peace. It draws you closer to me. It makes you want to pray with greater purity, examine things more carefully, and surrender more humbly. When the Spirit touches you, He does not throw you into confusion. He leads you into order. For God is not a God of disorder, but of peace. 1 Corinthians 14:33. So if a feeling pulls you away from me, darkens your heart, suffocates your hope, and pushes you into fear, bring it into the light. But if it invites you to become more awake, tender, truthful, and near to me, then listen with humility. I am training you to live according to the rhythm of heaven, not according to the hurried rhythm of the world. The world tells you that you must react immediately, prove yourself immediately, decide under pressure, and chase after every outward movement. But I teach you a different rhythm: to pause before stepping, to listen before speaking, to pray before taking hold, and to wait in peace before passing through a door. The birds of the sky know how to recognize the seasons. The trees know how to respond to the light, and the sea knows how to obey the boundary I have set. How much more, then, as my beloved child, can I not teach you to recognize divine timing? To everything there is a season, and a time for every purpose under heaven. Ecclesiastes 3:1. When you walk in my appointed time, you do not need to compete with the world, panic because others have gone ahead, or cling to something whose season I have already completed. Sometimes the sign I send you is like a bird flying low before the wind shifts. The hurried person will not notice, but the watchful heart will understand that the atmosphere is changing. Sometimes it is like the first chill before the rain, like a thin line of light before dawn, like the very soft cracking of the ground before a seedling rises. I do not use these signs to threaten you. I use them to prepare you. I do not want the new door to leave you confused. I do not want you to enter a new season with your hands still tightly holding the old one. That is why I first work within your heart, loosening every attachment, healing every fear, opening your eyes little by little, so that when the outward things begin to change, you can say, my soul knew this beforehand, because my Father whispered it to me in the secret place. Remember, Noah, my dear child, before the rain fell, before the waters rose, before the world recognized what was coming, I spoke to him in hiddenness and told him to prepare the ark. Many people saw only clear skies and continued living as though nothing had changed. But Noah responded to my word with quiet obedience. By faith, Noah, being warned by God concerning things not yet seen, moved with godly fear and prepared an ark. Hebrews 11:7. He did not wait until the first drop of rain fell before he believed. He prepared while everything outside still appeared normal. You also are being taught by me not to live only by what your eyes can see. There are things I forewarn your soul about, not to make you afraid, but to help you build obedience before the rainy season comes, so that you already have refuge in me when circumstances begin to shift. So then, my beloved child, keep the inner room of your heart bright. Do not let the dust of anxiety cover the windows of your soul. Do not let the noise of the crowd drown out my gentle call. Do not let old things, even familiar ones, convince you that darkness is your home. You no longer belong to darkness. You belong to the light, and that light is growing within you in a very holy way. When I light a lamp in your heart, guard it with prayer, When I place a pure stirring within you, nourish it with obedience. When I make you sensitive to a change that is coming, slow your steps. Listen more deeply, and let my peace rule as the judge within your heart. I do not hide you in darkness and then suddenly pull you into something you cannot bear. I am the gracious Father, the one who knows your strength, knows your rhythm, and knows the places within you that are still weak. I prepare you before I send you. I soften your heart before entrusting you with something greater. I open your ears before I open your path. I place light within your inner being before dawn appears over your circumstances. Therefore, do not look down on the small signs, the quiet perceptions, the deep tremblings, or the invitations that no one else hears. It is within these things that I am teaching you to live in harmony with heaven, and when you learn to walk according to that rhythm, you will no longer be swept away by the chaos of the world, but will move in peaceful, watchful, and hope-filled guidance, until you see what I have been quietly preparing for so long bloom before your eyes like the morning light that nothing can hold back. My beloved child, allow me to take you a little deeper, beyond the way of seeing that stops only at what your eyes can see and your ears can hear. There are things that belong to heaven which cannot be fully understood if you measure them only by the surface of events. The world often waits for an event to happen before believing that change has come. But I often plant a signal within your soul before outward circumstances have time to shift. Before the door opens, I have already caused your heart to no longer belong to the old room. Before you step into a new season, I have already caused old desires to gradually lose their pull. Before you see the shape of what I am preparing, I have already placed within you a holy vibration, a quiet awakening, a very deep sense that something is being rearranged in the hidden place. Do not be afraid when your inner being becomes more sensitive than before. Do not quickly think that you are becoming weaker simply because you feel more deeply, consider more carefully, or can no longer easily ignore the things you once overlooked. When I touch the deep layers of the soul, I do not make you fragile so that you may be wounded. I make you awake so that you may be guided. There is a sensitivity that comes from wounds, but there is also a discernment that comes from the Spirit. The sensitivity of wounds makes you defensive, fearful, and withdrawn, but the discernment of the Spirit teaches you to pause, to perceive, to listen, and to recognize my voice among the many noises surrounding you. For it is written, the spiritual person judges all things, 1 Corinthians 2:15, not with arrogance, but with the illumination that comes from the one who dwells within you. I want you to understand that what I renew first is not always the outward behavior, but the source from which that behavior flows. If the roots remain old, the tree will only try to carry a new appearance for a short time before becoming weary again. If the inner stream has not been purified, outward choices will still carry the bitter taste of fear, self-protection, and confusion. Therefore, I touch a place deeper than habit. I touch the way you perceive, the way you feel, the way you respond, and the way you interpret what is happening around you. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is the good, acceptable, and perfect will of God. Romans 12:2. When your mind is renewed, you do not merely change the way you act, you change the way you hear heaven, the way you see life, and the way you understand yourself in my light. There are seasons when I do not give you an answer through an immediately obvious event, because I am teaching you to recognize the rhythm of heaven before that event takes form. Like a watchman on the city wall who does not wait until an army has reached the gate to see it, but learns to read the dust on the road from afar, to hear the change in the wind, and to sense what is unusual in the night. You are the same. I am training you not to live behind what I am doing, but to walk in step with my guidance. The sons of Issachar were men who understood the times. To know what Israel ought to do, 1 Chronicles 12:32. I do not only want you to know what is happening, I want you to know how to respond. When to stop, when to step forward, when to remain silent, and when to open your heart. Remember Elijah on Mount Carmel and afterward in the cave. Before the people, fire came down from heaven clearly, powerfully, and undeniably. But after that great victory, when his heart was weary and his soul withdrew into loneliness, I did not heal him with another display. I did not place new life within him through the strong wind, the earthquake, or the fire, but through a still, small voice. Do you see? The same God who can answer by fire in public can also restore a human heart by a whisper in the secret place. Do not think that great things only come through great forms. Sometimes the deepest, most enduring, and truest work begins with a sound that only a soul trained to listen can recognize. Therefore, when you feel everything within you being adjusted, do not be quick to resist. Perhaps you do not yet understand why the old things are no longer enough for you. Perhaps you do not yet know why certain relationships, certain ways of thinking, certain to be, and certain desires that once felt so familiar are beginning to lose harmony with your heart. But I tell you this, that sense of strangeness is not always loss. Many times, it is a sign that you are being lifted out of an old frequency and brought into a new rhythm of life. Awake, you who sleep, arise from the dead, and Christ will give you light. Ephesians 5:14. When that light shines upon you, it does not only expose what is wrong, it also awakens the part of you that has slept too long beneath the habits of former days. I am teaching you to distinguish between appearance and essence. There are things that outwardly look very fine, yet your soul has no peace. There are opportunities that seem attractive, yet within you there is a very holy pause. There are paths that many people praise as wise, but when you bring them into my presence, your heart cannot expand in the light. Do not treat that lightly. Let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts. Colossians 3:15. Peace is not merely a pleasant feeling. In many cases, peace is a divine umpire, helping you recognize what moves in rhythm with me and what is only wearing the appearance of reasonableness in order to pull you away from my guidance. Likewise, remember the Shulamite woman in the Song of Songs, when she heard the voice of her beloved calling outside the door. That voice was not the noise of the crowd, nor a cold command, but an intimate invitation. Rise up, my love, my fair one, and come away. Song of Songs 2:10. A winter had passed, the rain had ended, and flowers had appeared on the earth. But the first thing she received was not a long map of the journey. She received a call. My beloved child, there are seasons in your life that are the same. I do not always explain everything I am about to do from the beginning. I simply call your soul to rise out of delay, out of the old room, out of the old way of living, and out of the old garments that no longer fit what I am causing to blossom within you. Do not let the world drag you back into its rigid measurements. The world asks, where is the evidence? Where is the event? Where is the result? But I teach you to ask deeper questions. Where is my soul being drawn? Where does my peace stand? What is the light within me revealing? Does this bring me closer to me? Make me purer, more loving, and more steadfast. For there are things that have not yet taken shape outwardly, but have already begun to live in your hidden place. Mary carried the Savior within her before the whole world recognized him. Elisha received the mantle before his ministry was fully revealed. David was anointed while he was still a shepherd, long before the day he sat on the throne. The things that belong to me are often confirmed in secret before they are announced in the open. I know this training can feel unfamiliar to you. You may wonder why you are no longer as indifferent as before, why a small word makes you think deeply, why a certain presence causes your heart to grow heavy, or why a silence allows you to hear what no words have spoken. My beloved child, when I refine your soul, I also refine your ability to perceive. A musician must tune the strings before the music can sound in the right key. In the same way, I am tuning the strings within you so that your life may harmonize with the melody of heaven. If the string is too tight, I soften it. If it is too loose, I lift it. If the sound is distorted by fear, I heal it. If the sound is made crooked by pride, I humble you in grace. I do not tune you in order to wound you, but so that the song I have placed within you may rise with clarity. So remain close to me. Keep your soul clean from unnecessary noise. Let my word wash the way you think. For the unfolding of your words gives light, it gives understanding to the simple. Psalm 119, 130. Let prayer become not only the place where you ask for what you want, but the place where you are adjusted again to desire what belongs to me. Let silence no longer frighten you, because in that silence I may be resetting the rhythm of your heart. When you feel the inner frequency changing, do not hastily interpret it through anxiety. Bring it into the light. Test it by my word. Weigh it in peace, and wait for me to make each step clear. I am bringing you into a life that is not controlled by events, but guided by presence. You will no longer merely react after everything happens. You will learn to perceive before the season changes. Prepare before the door opens. Release before the old thing becomes a chain. And stand still before the chaotic wind pulls you away. And when the outward event finally appears, you will not say, "I was surprised," but will quietly recognize, "My Father had prepared my heart beforehand. This is how I care for you, not only by opening the way, but by making you awake enough to recognize that way when it appears." My beloved child, believe that the quiet adjustment within you is not in vain. It is part of the holy work I am completing. I do not guide you only through events, but through light, through peace, through sensitivity, through a very deep call in the place the world cannot touch. Let me continue to renew your mind, soften your heart, refine your spiritual intuition, and draw your life into alignment with heaven. For when your soul begins to vibrate in rhythm with me, you will no longer need to chase every outward sound in order to know where you are going. You will walk in the light, quietly yet steadily, tenderly yet powerfully, humbly yet with authority, until what I have sown in the invisible becomes a radiant harvest in your life. My beloved child, when I deepen your heart, I do not do it to make you heavy, distant, or to cause you to lose the purity of joy. I do it to rescue you from a life that merely drifts along the surface, where every word, every glance, and every small change can carry you away like a leaf upon the water. There was a time when you saw things through your first reaction, when someone hurt you. You withdrew when someone disappointed you. You became suspicious when something came unexpectedly. You grew afraid when something was unclear. You hurried to control it. But now I am leading you into another level of awareness, where you no longer ask only, "What is happening?" but begin to quietly ask deeper questions. What place within me is this touching? What fear is it exposing? Where is it inviting me to grow? And what do you want to teach me in this moment? That is not a sign that you are confused. It is a sign that your soul is awakening. I am pleased when you become more honest with yourself, because wherever truth is present, my light has room to enter. You no longer merely cover your emotions with strong words. No longer quickly call avoidance peace, and no longer confuse busyness with stability. You are beginning to look at your motives, at the pain behind your reactions, at the lack hidden beneath your demands, and at the silent cry behind the days when you tried to appear fine. Do not be afraid of that honesty. My dear child, I do not lead you into truth in order to condemn you, but to set you free. For it is written, "You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free." John 8:32. Truth in my hand is not a blade of destruction, but a healing light. It reveals what has been hidden so that it can no longer rule you in secret. There are things that once shook you very quickly, but now you are beginning to see them gradually lose their power, not because the circumstances have disappeared, nor because everyone around you has changed according to your desire, but because something within you has been lifted out of the old level of reaction. When greater light rises in your heart, darkness does not need to be confronted with shouting. It retreats because it can no longer find a place to hide. When my peace grows deeper within you, fear may still stand outside the door, but it is no longer allowed to sit upon the throne of your heart. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? Psalm 27:1. Do you see? That verse does not say darkness no longer exists, but it declares that darkness no longer has the authority to determine the soul of one who stands in my light. I am also causing shallow things to lose their color before your eyes. Perhaps you once ran after quick pleasures, passing recognition, and words of praise that could easily excite your heart but could not nourish your soul. Perhaps you once thought that if only you were seen, approved, and able to hold what you wanted, then your heart would be at rest. But then I gently allowed you to realize that there are joys like dry wells from a distance. They appear to hold water, but when you bend down, you find only an empty bottom. I am not stealing your joy. I am only separating you from the things that disguise themselves as joy, yet left you empty. Come, all you who thirst, come to the waters. Isaiah 55:1. I am teaching you to come to the true stream, where joy does not depend on applause, convenience, or things that quickly fade. Remember the Samaritan woman beside Jacob's well. She came to draw water in the heat of the day, perhaps to avoid the glances and whispers of others. Outwardly, she was only doing something very ordinary. But I met her right there and touched a thirst deeper than the jar in her hand. She thought she needed water from the well, but I showed her that her soul needed living water. She thought her story was only a broken past, but I saw in her someone who could become a witness. When I spoke of living water, I was not merely answering her outward need, I was touching the deepest layer of longing within her. My beloved child, I am doing the same with you. I am not only dealing with what you are facing, I am touching the reason why it makes you thirsty, why it hurts you, why it makes you search, and why it makes you afraid to lose. Therefore, when you begin to see through the surface of things, do not treat it as a burden. It is the grace of maturity. The immature person looks only at the fruit on the branch, but the one I teach also looks at the roots beneath the ground. The hurried person hears only the words, but the deepened person recognizes the spirit behind those words. The person who lives by reaction answers immediately when touched, but the person who lives in awareness brings that reaction before me and asks, Father, what within me needs to be healed so that this no longer controls me? Search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me and know my thoughts. Psalm 139:23. That prayer is not for the one who wants to hide from himself, but for the one who is ready to enter true freedom. I am synchronizing you with the rhythm of heaven, and that rhythm is different from the rhythm of this world. This world is quick to react, quick to conclude, quick to fight back. and quick to prove itself right. But my rhythm causes you to slow down in wisdom, sink deeper into peace, and respond from a place that has been more fully healed. Before, one word of criticism could make you doubt your worth. Now you are learning to see it under my light. Before, a delay could make you think you had been forgotten. Now you are learning to distinguish between delay and preparation. Before, a closed door could make you afraid. Now you are beginning to understand that sometimes I close a door to keep you from something smaller than what I have appointed. Whoever believes will not act hastily. Isaiah 28:16. True faith does not make you passive, but frees you from the haste that is born from fear. You are no longer called to live as one who is pulled along by every change. You are called to live like a tree planted by the waters, with roots set deep, leaves that do not wither, and fruit that comes in its appointed season. The wind may blow, the seasons may change, and human voices may shift. But when your roots are in me, your soul is no longer defined by the surface. He shall be like a tree planted by the waters, which spreads out its roots by the river. It will not fear when heat comes, but its leaf will remain green. Jeremiah 17:8. Do you see? That tree does not avoid the heat, but it has a source deeper than the weather. In the same way, you may still pass through trials, but trials no longer have the authority to dry up the part of you that is connected to me. There are times when this new depth makes you feel more alone among shallow things. You may no longer laugh easily at the things that once made you forget yourself. No longer want to take part in conversations that make your soul heavy. No longer feel satisfied with goals that only feed the ego but do not nourish life. Do not see this as loss. My dear child, it is a sign that your spiritual appetite is being renewed. When a person has tasted bread from heaven, that person can no longer live forever on food that leaves the soul empty. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. Matthew 4:4. I am teaching you to hunger for what nourishes the depths, not merely what excites the moment. Let me remind you of Daniel, who lived in the palace of Babylon, a place filled with power, splendor, the king's food, and every pressure to blend into the common flow. But Daniel resolved in his heart that he would not defile himself. The strongest thing did not begin with a public action, but with a hidden decision in the inner man. It was that depth that caused him to stand firm in a foreign culture, interpret what others could not understand, and keep his purity while being placed close to power. My beloved child, I am also building within you such a deep decision not to live by the surface, not to trade your soul for convenience, and not to let what is dazzling make you forget the true source of light. So when you feel that you are discerning more deeply, do not blame yourself for no longer being as simple as before. Holy simplicity is not shallowness, it is purity after being refined by me. I do not want you to suspect everything, but I do want you to discern everything in the light. I do not want you to live heavily, but I do want you to live with depth. I do not want you to lose your joy, but I want your joy to have roots, so that it will not be carried away whenever circumstances change. The joy of the Lord is your strength, Nehemiah 8:10. That joy does not float upon the surface of the water, it flows from the deep place, where I dwell, where no wave can touch the foundation. My beloved child, let me continue this holy work within you. Let me lift the frequency of your soul out of fear, out of reaction, out of shallowness, and out of the noises that blur the truth. Let me teach you to see with purer eyes, to hear with a more awakened heart, and to respond with greater wisdom. From now on, you do not need to live as one who is always controlled by the surface of events. You can stand before the same circumstance, yet respond from another place, the place where peace has matured, where light has increased, where love has overcome fear, and where I am reigning, and when the invisible within you is set into the right rhythm with heaven. Your outward life will also gradually take on the shape of the peace, depth, and freedom that I have quietly sown into you long ago. My beloved child, I do not always call you with a loud sound, because one who has been taught to listen does not need to be awakened by a shock. There are souls who only turn back when everything around them is shaken. But I am bringing you into a deeper level of nearness, where even a gentle breath of wind is enough for you to recognize that I am near. I do not need to set the sky on fire to prove that I am speaking to you. Nor do I need to place a sign before you that astonishes you, before you are willing to believe. When your heart has been trained in stillness, when your spiritual ear has begun to grow familiar with the sound of peace, I can use very small things to guide you, a pause within your heart, a sense you cannot ignore, a pure thought returning again and again, a very subtle weight or lightness in the soul, a silence that suddenly becomes full of meaning in the midst of things that seem ordinary. I want you to understand that subtlety does not make a sign weaker. On the contrary, the small things I place in your heart often carry the weight of very deep care. Sometimes a very gentle uneasiness can keep you from stepping into a place that is not meant for you. Sometimes a tender peace can confirm that you should continue, even though you have not yet seen the entire road. Sometimes I cause a certain word to echo within you, not to make you anxious, but so you will bring it into prayer and recognize what is hidden behind it. Your ears shall hear a word behind you, saying, "This is the way, walk in it." Isaiah 30:21. That voice does not always sound like thunder. Many times, it is like a holy reminder in the secret place, just enough for the one who belongs to me to know whether to stop, turn, wait, or continue forward. Therefore, do not look down on the signals that seem fragile in everyday life. I can speak to you while you are walking a familiar road, doing a repeated task, hearing an ordinary sentence, or sitting quietly among thoughts that have not yet taken shape. Those moments are not always radiant, but they can be the place where heaven touches earth within your heart. The Lord was not in the wind, nor in the earthquake, nor in the fire, and after the fire, a still small voice. 1 Kings 19:11-12. I taught Elijah this, and I am teaching you as well. Not every powerful presence comes in a powerful form. Sometimes the most powerful thing comes in the gentlest way, because it does not force your soul, but invites you to recognize the signs I send are not meant to make you a person who lives dependent on signals, guessing every detail or fearing every movement within your heart. I do not want you to become confused, constantly searching for meaning in every small thing until you lose your peace. I want you to mature in discernment. A sign from me does not throw you into disorder. It draws you back to the center. It does not make you panic. It awakens you. It does not cast you into haste. It leads you into prayer. For it is written, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, and of love, and of a sound mind. 2 Timothy 1:7. If something pulls you into blind fear, bring it into the light. But if a movement makes you more humble, more honest, closer to me, and more watchful concerning your direction, listen to it in peace. I use signs, first of all, to awaken you, not because you are spiritually dead, but because habit can numb your spirit if you do not allow me to renew you each day. There are things you have grown so used to that you no longer recognize they are drawing you away from the light. There are rhythms of life you have repeated for so long that you have assumed they are normal. Though they are drying out your heart, there are concerns you have carried for so long that you no longer call them burdens. Then I send a gentle touch, a reminder, a pause, a feeling that you cannot continue as before. so that you may awaken from that hazy place. Awake, you who sleep. Arise from the dead, and Christ will give you light. Ephesians 5:14. That word is not a cold rebuke, but the loving call of light to one who is being invited to step out of an old sleep. But I do not only awaken you, I also position you. You need to know where you are in the process I am working, because not every season requires the same response. There is a season to sow, a season to wait, a season to release, a season to step forward, a season to remain silent, and a season to proclaim. If you are not positioned, you may try to harvest while I am telling you to sow. You may try to open a door while I am telling you to rest. You may try to keep what I am loosening from your hands. To everything, there is a season, and a time for every purpose under heaven. Ecclesiastes 3:1. The signs I place within you help you recognize the rhythm of the present season, so that you do not live out of step with the timing of grace. I do not want you to run ahead of me because of eagerness, nor do I want you to lag behind me because of fear. I want you to walk with me, and then I use signs to prepare you, because I am a gracious Father. I do not suddenly push you into something your heart has not yet been softened to receive. Before a door opens, I often make you less attached to the old room. Before a promise appears, I train you to have the strength to carry it. Before a new season comes, I place small signals within you so that you may begin to reorder your heart. Remember Joshua and the people of Israel before they crossed the Jordan River. I did not tell them to rush into the waters in confusion, but said, "Consecrate yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will do wonders among you." Joshua 3:5. The wonder of tomorrow is prepared by the consecration of today. Do you see? I do not only open the way, I prepare the one who will walk upon that way. Look at David while he was still in the wilderness. Before facing Goliath, he learned to recognize my help in the hidden battles with the lion and the bear. No one applauded in the pasture. No one wrote history about the times he protected the flock in silence. But those small signs of faithfulness positioned his heart. When he stood before the giant, David did not merely see a frightening event. He looked through it with a spiritual memory that had been trained. He said that the one who had delivered him from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear would also deliver him from the hand of the enemy. My beloved child, the times I quietly preserved you, the times I gently warned you, the times I placed peace in your heart before a right decision, all of these are training you, so that when a greater event comes, you will not forget who I am. Therefore, stay watchful and pray, but do not be watchful in tension. Watch and pray. Matthew 26:41 is not an invitation for you to live in fear, as though danger is hiding everywhere, but a call to keep your soul alert to the movement of heaven. To be watchful is to not let habit dim the light. To pray is to bring every small trembling into my presence so it can be purified, interpreted, and set in its proper place. When you are watchful without prayer, you can easily become anxious. When you pray without watchfulness, you may overlook what I am showing you. But when both walk together, you will move in gentle discernment, neither hurried, nor paralyzed, nor blind to what I am doing. My child, allow small things to become holy in your eyes. A timely silence can save you from a wrong word. A gentle feeling within your heart can keep you from a hasty decision. A deep peace can carry you through a season of waiting. An inward pause can be my loving fence placed before you. I do not use these signals to control you like a machine, but to walk with you as a father, leading his child along a road never traveled before. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. Psalm 119:105. That lamp does not always illuminate the whole horizon, but it gives enough light for the next step. And when you are faithful with the next step, you will see the path open. I am teaching you to live, not by reaction, but by recognition, not by old habit, but by the breath of the Spirit, not by the noise outside, but by the inner light I have kindled within you. Do not despise what is small simply because it does not impress the world. In my hand, a whisper can redirect an entire life. A touch can keep you from the wrong path, and a ray of light can announce that dawn is near. Keep your heart tender, your ears pure, and your soul close to me. When you learn to recognize the signs I send to awaken, position, and prepare you, you will no longer be swept away by the chaos of this world. You will walk slowly but surely, quietly but brightly, gently but powerfully, because you know your Father is leading you with a love that does not need to be loud, yet has never been absent. My beloved child, listen to me with the deepest part of you, not only with ears that are accustomed to receiving outward sounds, but with the hidden place within your soul, where when my life gently touches you, your heart knows how to tremble. I do not call you because you no longer have shortcomings, nor do I choose you because you have passed through this life without ever stumbling. I call you because amid the noise, amid the voices pulling at you, amid all the things that want to capture your attention, there still remains within you a sacred ability, the ability to hear me. And when I say, "My sheep hear my voice," I know them, and they follow me. John 10:27. I am not speaking only of a sound that rings outwardly, but of the deep recognition that enables your soul to distinguish the voice of the shepherd from the voice of a stranger, the word that leads into life from the noise that only scatters your heart. Therefore, do not exclude yourself from my love simply because you see that you are not yet perfect. I have never waited for you to become complete before drawing near to you. I come to lead you into wholeness. I do not require you to know everything before you walk forward. I teach you step by step, season by season, through small signals and quiet awakenings. Many times, you think I am silent, but in truth, I am speaking in a way more subtle than what you are used to hearing. I can place within you a very gentle peace when you are moving in the right direction. I can also place a deep inward pause when you are drawing near to something that does not belong to you. I can remind you through a scripture that suddenly shines within your heart, through counsel spoken at the right time, through a dream that causes you to reflect, or through a silence in which you suddenly realize that you need to return to me. But my beloved child, I want you to mature in discernment, so that you do not confuse every emotional fluctuation with the voice of heaven. Not every anxiety is a warning from me. Not every excitement is my confirmation. Not every heaviness means you must stop, and not every pleasant feeling means you should enter. Emotions are waves. They may arise from weariness, memory, wounds, desire, or unhealed fear. But a sign from me, even if it is very gentle, will always draw you closer to truth, closer to peace, closer to light, closer to humility. For it is written, "Let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts." Colossians 3:15. That peace is not always a pleasant feeling on the surface, but a deep assurance that you are being held in my hand. I do not limit the way I communicate with you to one fixed form, because if I used only one kind of sign, you would love the sign more than you love me. If I spoke only through one familiar path, you would cling to the pattern instead of remaining in a living relationship with your Father. I do not want you to become a seeker of omens, panicking over every detail, trying to decode everything as though life were a room full of secret messages. I want you to recognize the flow of the Spirit. It is the Spirit who gives life. The flesh profits nothing. John 6:63. My life does not operate mechanically, does not repeat itself rigidly, and is not confined to the way you experienced me in a previous season. What I used to awaken you yesterday may not be what I use to guide you today, because each season has its own grace, each step has its own guidance, and each place within your soul needs a different kind of touch. Sometimes a sign comes as a vague stirring within your heart, not loud, not clearly shaped, yet enough to make you unable to continue living as before. You may not know what to call it, but you feel as though an inner door is quietly opening. That may be the moment when I am shifting the rhythm of your soul, bringing you out of a familiar level that has become too narrow for what I am about to do. Sometimes a sign comes as a holy loss of interest in things that once attracted you. You do not hate them, but they no longer nourish you. Do not fear that change in appetite. When I deepen you, shallow things will naturally fade. When I lift your soul into a purer rhythm, lower voices will gradually lose their power to pull you. Remember Samuel when he was still a child in the temple. The first time he heard the call, he thought it was Eli's voice, because he was not yet familiar with recognizing my voice. I did not rebuke him. I called again. I was patient. I waited for his heart to learn how to answer. Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening. 1 Samuel 3:10. You are the same. There are seasons when you do not yet clearly discern what I am placing in your heart. Sometimes you run to ask others before sitting still before me. Sometimes you misunderstand an awakening as confusion. But I do not leave you because you do not recognize me immediately. I continue calling, continue teaching, continue adjusting, until your soul not only hears the voice, but recognizes the one who is speaking. Sometimes I lead you through the illumination of the Word. A scripture you have read many times suddenly becomes alive, as though it has been written specifically for your present moment. When that happens, do not pass over it quickly. Remain with that word. Pray within that word, and let that word search and heal you. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. Psalm 119:105. The lamp does not always show you the whole long road, but it gives enough light for the present step. If you are faithful with the small light of today, I will give more light for tomorrow. The one who demands to see the entire journey before stepping is often held back by fear, but the one who trusts me will walk according to the portion of light that has been given. And as that person walks, the way will open. At times, I lead you through a gentle restraint. You intend to say a word, but something within you suddenly pauses. You intend to enter a connection, but your heart cannot remain at peace in my presence. You intend to take hold of an opportunity, but the more you pray, the more you recognize an emptiness behind its attractive appearance. Do not despise that fence of love. I do not restrain you in order to deprive you. I restrain you to protect what I am sowing within you. The Lord shall preserve you from all evil. He shall preserve your soul. Psalm 121:7. Many things you thought were delays were actually protection. Many doors you regretted losing were paths I did not want you to enter. There are also times when a sign comes as a pure prompting that makes you want to pray, to forgive, to correct something wrong, to step out of delay, or to become more truthful before me. Such promptings do not always come with strong emotion, but they carry the fragrance of life. Respond while your heart is still tender. Do not wait until the call becomes unfamiliar. Mary responded to the angel's word with humility. Even though she did not yet understand the whole road ahead, she said, "Behold the maidservant of the Lord, let it be to me according to your word." Luke 1:38. Her obedience was not based on understanding the entire future, but on recognizing that the one who was calling was faithful. You are invited to live in the same way, not needing to hold every detail. but trusting enough to entrust your heart to me. Therefore, my beloved child, keep your heart tender. A hard heart demands great evidence before it will believe. A tender heart recognizes me even in a small touch. A hard heart wants to control every outcome. A tender heart knows that its father never leads wrongly. A hard heart turns signs into obsession. A tender heart turns signs into an invitation to greater nearness. I am teaching you not to live by guessing, but by communion, not by reacting to every emotion, but by recognition illuminated by my word, not by clinging to an old pattern, but by recognizing the living flow of the Spirit in every season. And as you learn to follow these small signals in peace, you will gradually understand that your life is not a string of disconnected days. I am weaving every detail, every encounter, every pause, every closed door, every reminder, and every gentle touch in your heart to lead you to the place I appointed long ago. My beloved child, I am teaching you a deeper way to walk, not so that you detach yourself from wisdom, nor so that you despise healthy counsel from outside, but so that you no longer live as one who only knows how to seek answers in the noise around you. There are things you need to hear, learn, observe, and carefully consider, but beneath all of these, I am restoring within you a holy ability, the ability to recognize my life in a place, a word, a direction, a connection, or a door. When your soul is softened before my presence, you will no longer be easily deceived by outward brightness that is empty within. You will begin to sense where life is flowing, where your heart is drying up, which call draws you closer to me, and which sound only scatters your mind. The spiritual person judges all things, 1 Corinthians 2:15, not with cold suspicion, but with the light that has been placed within the heart. I am not training you to become someone who is always tense, always guarded, always suspicious of every person and every circumstance. That is not the discernment that comes from me. True discernment does not make you live in fear, it makes you live in peace with open eyes. I do not want you to move through this life as one who shrinks back before every shadow, nor do I want you to analyze so much that you lose the simplicity of faith. I want you to become so attuned to me that when life is present, you recognize it. When something lacks light, you know to pause. When a direction no longer belongs to your season, you can release it without resentment. The peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds. Philippians 4:7. That peace is not vagueness. It is a holy guard standing at the door of your heart. There were seasons when you needed much outward evidence before you dared to believe that I was guiding you. You wanted everyone to confirm it, wanted circumstances to open the way all at once, wanted every detail in your hands before you could feel safe. But I am bringing you out of that dependence. Not so you would become reckless, but so you would become mature. You will still know how to listen to wise counsel, still know how to consider reality, still know how to walk responsibly, but you will no longer allow the surface of events to rule your soul. For we walk by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5:7. Faith does not deny what the eyes see. Faith places what the eyes see under the light of the one who sees to the very end.